Hey, everybody. Welcome to another super exciting episode of Happiness, Hope, and Healing. Feeling, we do feel too. So I am just absolutely loving sharing all of these stories with you guys. It's really incredible. The women that I've met, the stories that I've heard, and I have to bring them to you and share them with you. But before we get into my awesome guests today, I just want to do the quick kind of legal jargon thing. We are going to talk about products. Obviously, hello, it's what I do. However, we do not diagnose, treat, cure. We make no medical claims. We literally, when we talk about products, it's about our personal story or maybe things that friends and family have experienced in using these products. But of course, we make no medical claims. So please help me welcome my good friend, Coral Adams. I'm super excited to have her here. She's a badass, and I'm really excited. She told me a little bit of her story earlier this week, and I can't wait for her to just unfold it for all of you because she is an absolute warrior and a goddess, and I'm super excited to hear her story. So, Coral, welcome.
Hey,
Thank you for being on here today. I just want you to kind of go into tell us a little bit about who you are in this moment in time and space.
okay. Hi. I am 48, going on 49 soon,
Woo-hoo.
and I drive truck.
That's
You
amazing.
never think of it, but I do. I'm 4'10" and a mother of three adult children, and soon to be a grandmother of a little baby girl that's coming at the end of
Oh,
February.
that's exciting. Okay, wait. When we say truck, we're talking about an 18 wheeler. We're talking about transport truck. We're not talking about a pickup truck or right. I just want to clarify that for everybody.
Yeah. My normal everyday ride is a five-axle Peterbilt. I teach and train concrete for, I guess, an area of Heidelberg materials. So my area of Heidelberg materials, and I teach five axle.
Amazing.
So it is a body job. It's not like a tractor trailer where it bends in the middle, but still, nonetheless, it is no slouch.
No slouch. I love it. That's amazing. You don't see that very often. It's like you said in your intro to me, it's a very male dominated world. So I can just imagine some of the stuff that you deal with. But I want to go back first because I want to talk about you've been through so many things, all things that have made you the incredible person that you are today. But you told me some amazing things that you've overcome, even just from a young age. And why don't you go back a little bit and tell us, some of that story?
Okay. So if we want to go like way back,
Yeah,
uh,
let's go.
okay, so I grew up Little House on the Tundra, kind of like Little House on the Prairie, but really north.
And
So
cold.
yes, north and cold. So when I was about 9 years old, okay, when I was nine, we went from all the fun things like running water and electricity, toilets that flush, central heating, to essentially a cabin in the woods on 40 acres, an hour and a half out of town with no electricity, no running water, nothing. Our first winter there, we had a wood stove. Everything was frozen, like literally everything. We had an outhouse. Try that at 40 below. It'll stick with you for life.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Oh yeah, it was great. And so going to school, living in a place like that, right? You learn for your environment. So we learned winter survival. We learned how to make snow caves. We learned how to ventilate um, snow caves and igloos and how to set trap lines. And we learned how to tell different animal tracks and weight from paw size. We learned what was edible in our area, how to sustain ourselves, snow blindness, all those things.
Wow.
You don't coming here and moving to the city. When my children were little, I'm like, La la la, my kids are gonna learn so many great things. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. Not in a concrete jungle. You do not learn what is edible in your surroundings. You do learn, however, what not to touch.
True
So
that.
yeah, there was that. And I became a single parent at 19. Not by choice. Oh, kind of a little bit by design, but not. That's a whole different story. So, I was a young parent. I struggled through all the parenting struggles because we're learning as we go, right?
Yeah.
And my son was about 3 years old, and I moved to Alberta, away from my whole entire support system. My family had left to BC, and I struck out blinded by love.
Been
And
there.
that's what happens, right? So I struck out blinded by love. And a year later, we were getting married. And 11 years and two more children later, I discovered that I was living in an extremely psychologically abusive relationship.
Mm,
And I now had no friends. I was isolated. I was again on another acreage, smaller, very small, only 3 acres, but I was away from everybody and everything. Everything that I had known, I had not spoken to for years. And it was just me and my kids, really. He was a long haul truck driver. So when he was home, again, we're just completely isolated, right?
right.
And working and commuting, you what do? You go to work, you come home, you go to work, you come home because you have three
Right.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a revelation, and it was a huge saving of my own soul and it was difficult. It was not an easy choice to make, to walk away and leave. And in doing so, all three of my children moved in with him
Been there too.
after he got out of a psychological hospital.
Oh, that's
And
terrifying. Because I know for me with my kids too, of course, different circumstances or whatever, but when you know what that person is mentally, emotionally, and physically capable of, and my children did the same, he talked them into going there. And it was just like, it was terrifying because I've protected you from this person your entire life. I've shielded you. You have no idea. But my kids were the age where I had to let them learn on their own who he was, and it was awful. It was hard to watch the damage being done. So I know that, in the same circumstance for you, like that was probably one of the hardest things you've ever been through.
oh, my youngest was 9, and I became an
Mm,
empty nester. And it was so emotionally distressing.
yeah.
His family, of course, was no help, and I get it, right? They have to be with him. They're his
Mm,
family. But for years and years and years leading up to this, I asked for support. I asked for help. I asked them to see what was going on. But he played that game so well
oh yeah.
until he couldn't. And when he couldn't, I had a really good job where I am now, but just starting there, total shiny penny, brand new. And
Right.
I was, my dad fell ill, and I was capable of saying, he was away to work. And I was capable of saying, hey, and I called him up and said, hey, my dad is sick. The children are with my siblings. I have
Yeah.
purchased a plane ticket. I am leaving to go help him.
Right.
And he couldn't do a dang thing to stop it. And he broke.
Mm,
And so, in dealing with my dad's illness, a few days later, I had to come back and deal with his illness,
yeah.
where he decided I don't get to see him. I don't get to do these things. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Do you. I will
Right.
try. I need to be there to support my children. So
Right.
if supporting my children means I need to support you through your struggle, even though we're not getting back together, to support our children and their mental health, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And when he got out of the hospital and they moved in with him, yeah, that seriously the most distressing thing I have ever gone through.
That
And
was the most pain I'd ever experienced. Like, it was like, it just breaks your heart, like, literally.
it's gut wrenching. It's like somebody has literally reached into your chest, pulled out your beating heart, shown it to you in front of your face about 3 feet away, and just crushes it repetitively. And there's nothing
Yeah.
to do about it.
Mhm. Yeah, it was awful. That was the one of the worst things I because it was like the you think your kids are never gonna leave. You gave birth to them, you raised them, you did everything for them, you know, all of these things, you were the especially in your case, he was long distance, so, you know, you were the one that was always there, and then to see them choose someone else over you, like, it's rough.
Oh, it was. And that same year, a few months, like kind of in, I guess, the fall of that year, that happened during the summer. The fall of that year, I went in for head surgery.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I had severe vertigo, and the CAT scans and stuff showed that I had a mastoid cyst. But it
Mm,
didn't show when they went in for surgery that that mastoid cyst had eroded a hole through my skull and was resting on the lining to my brain. And so they had to, when they unplugged that, literally, they had a
mhm,
huge surprise that they now had to try and fix.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
essentially plug the hole. I mean, they had to keep
they had to
your
keep
brain fluid in there.
exactly, exactly. So that happened that same year. So that was another struggle in the fall. And it just, I can't say that that was a horrible year though. It was a tough year. It was a rough year, but without that year, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
Not here where
See, and
I
I
am.
love that perspective. I absolutely love that you say that because so many people look at everything like a failure and it's the end. And it's like, no, honey, there's another page that needs to be turned. And you can turn your mess into your message. And that's probably one of my favorite quotes. Um, because we do have that choice to make. We can sit down and we can let it all overwhelm you and we can play the victim for the rest of our lives. Or we can say, what is this meant to teach me? What can it teach me? And how can I grow from this point forward? So I love that you said that.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Like it's always how can you grow? It's never this is taking me down ever. Everything teaches you something.
Yeah.
And at
If you
that
look
point,
for the lesson, if you look for the
absolutely,
lesson, it's definitely there.
it is. And at that point, I had I had so many people to prove wrong.
Mm,
I was not going to fail for nothing.
right,
And I had a severe fire in me and a severe anger of everything lost, because there was a lot of loss. There was like a 15-year relationship. There
yeah,
was so much hope that you ask yourself, why? Why did you have
mm,
so much hope? And
right,
then, with the children and everything, and you need to put that rage somewhere. You need to put that anger somewhere. You need to be
right,
seriously productive. And I had nothing
right,
to do but work. And when I wasn't at work, I went to the gym because you have to be productive. Because I needed to be happy and healthy for my children when I was with them.
right. Well, and
And
here's something a lot of people don't understand is that grief often produces anger, especially at the very beginning, like before it sometimes turns to the other things that you deal with when you're grieving, because you're grieving the loss of your relationship as you knew it with your children. You're grieving the loss of a relationship, like you said, you felt there was hope. And then you look back, I know I did, and think, how the heck did I not see all of these things from the very beginning? Like you then you're angry at yourself for being fooled or being manipulated or so yeah, I totally get it.
I do believe like the 12 stages of healing through Al Anon. There's this 12 stages of healing through grief.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was the last year before I got hired on at this company. that was really a huge defining moment for me. It was just, it was my, what do you have to do? Because you know things are not going well. And if they go downhill, how are you going to save yourself and your children?
Right.
So it was
I love
all a
that.
forward motion plan. I had to. You have to. Whether or not it becomes fruitful, you have to have it in place
Right.
because you can never, you can't be stuck when you have others to look after.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, and sometimes that's the catch 22, isn't it? Is that especially as a mom, as a woman, when you have all these other people who are depending on you to take care of them, you can very easily get lost in the shuffle. You can very easily forget to, I've got to do this, and this for me so that I can be productive, I can be successful, I can be strong, and I can be whole so that I can continue to pour into others in my those in my life that I love, my children, my family, my friends, so that's a big thing.
Absolutely. And that was another thing from what you just said. I needed to rebuild those friend connections. And I was so
Yeah.
super grateful that some of the best people in my life I have known since junior high, and they never left. They were just standing
Mm,
back
right.
and they were there and they're still there today. And
That's
I've had
awesome.
more support from them than I've ever had from anybody in my life. And it's irreplaceable.
Sometimes family is not what you're born into. Family is the ones that are there and never leave, right? Family can take on so many different forms. And sometimes it is the people that choose to stay and choose to be there for you and choose to pick you up when you fall in. So I love that. I love that you had a good support system in the end.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It was kind of shocking. I didn't think it would be there. And
Right.
some of the support came from the most obscure places. And I am still super grateful for it because it reminded me that I was worth it. Despite everything, I was still worth it. And I came before everything ended, I came into some seriously dark, dark, dark places. Like I would be commuting 45 minutes each way to work, right? And
Mm,
when I was coming home at like 11:30 midnight, and you just wonder what would happen if you turn that wheel.
yes.
And you have in these thoughts, you're just like, oh my God, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
Am I a bad
Yeah.
person? And
Oh
then
my
you're
god, am
like,
I suicidal? Like, do I need to check my? Because 'cause I've had the for
right?
me, it was like, what would happen if I stepped out in front of this bus? Like, it's just like a split second, and it's just like
Yeah,
a little that intrusive thought that just, like, it's there and then it's gone, and you're like, "Did I really just think that? Like, what's wrong with me? Am I" like, it's yeah, it's tough.
it is. And then the whole stigma around it, the whole stigma around um mental wellness. I want to use the word wellness because we need wellness. We don't need to encourage illness.
Right.
And all the stigma around it is you can't talk about it, no matter your gender, because if you talk about it, then you're weak. And I would really love to dispute whoever started that
Yeah.
because talking about it takes such huge feats of strength. You're so
A lot of
vulnerable.
courage.
And you have to have a lot of trust in the people you're talking to and a lot of courage within yourself just to be able to to say, I need help. And it's not like, hey, I need help doing the dishes. It's, hey, I need help because I want to live.
Yeah.
And like a dawning, defining moment for me was at, during some of this, I went on a trip with my sister. I had $350 to my name. And I scraped to find that. Like, I mean, I'm sure it could have been used in other places, like maybe
Right.
like the electrical bill or something. And um, I went to Hawaii
Oh,
7 days.
nice.
I did 2 islands, 7 days. I piggybacked off of my cousin's place to stay. I had a total of $350, and that's to pay for my groceries. That's everything.
Mm,
And I was on antidepressants. They had the doctor put me on what's that shit called? Effexor.
Right.
And in those 7 days, every day I called home to my children. In those 7 days, my children lived. My house did not burn down. The world did not implode. I
Mm,
didn't lose my job, and everything was okay. But before those 7 days, no, everything would have fallen apart if I wasn't there to pick it up.
right. And
And
that is so common in women, especially so common. I cannot let my foot off the gas because if I do, and let's be real, for some people, I'm not suggesting for you, but for some, I know for me, I had to have control. It was the only thing I had control over in my marriage and in my life was making sure everything was done and everything was taken care of and everything was set up for the kids and this and that and the other. So that was you had to have control over certain things because everything else you had no control over, at least in my experience. And so I think for some women it's that fear. Like if I let go, then I'm viewed at as I'm lazy, I can't get it done, I've given up, all of those things. Like there's so many things that go through our head when it comes to I cannot appear weak. I cannot appear unknowing. I cannot appear like I just don't give two flying, you know what. You know what I mean? Because there comes a time where you feel that you lay down in bed and you're like, I just want to quit. I just want to give up. I'm so tired. I'm so overwhelmed. I feel like I'm on this hamster wheel that's never going to end. So for you, like, and you talked about some stuff with me about like you've made some huge strides in your life, obviously, despite everything you've been through. I mean, you said that you'd been on your own since you were 15 and then you were a young single mom and then you got into this relationship and then out of the relationship the situation with your kids, and so it feels like you becoming getting into this male dominated industry, becoming a truck driver, it's almost like that was a part of what gave you your power back.
in a way, it was. My stepdad was a truck driver, long haul, and so was my ex husband. And it was one of those any trained monkey can do it, is what they would
Mm,
say. And it was it was really much, a lot of it was born out of desperation. Absolutely. The difference between a 5 month course and a 5 week course was huge.
right.
But the other part of it was if you can do it, so can I. And
Mm,
I know I can. I don't, it doesn't mean I'm going to be better than you. It just means I can
right.
do the same job.
Right.
I can be equivalent
Right.
in that matter.
And I love what you said about being born out of desperation because we all have that defining moment with whatever we've been through, whatever we're overcoming, whether we've already overcome it or we're still working on overcoming it. You have that defining moment where it's like you do or you die. Maybe not physically, but some part of you will be lost in that moment of desperation. We have that choice to say, I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm not going to let this end me. This is not every single moment in life, we all have a choice. This is not how my story is going to be written. I'm going to turn the page and I'm going to start a whole new chapter. Whether that just be you go back to school or you take an online course or, you lose that last 10 pounds you've been trying to lose, or you learn a new skill, or you decide to finally take time for you and fill your own cup. Like, those are the things that can be very life changing, even in the smallest of ways.
Completely agree. Like
Yeah.
your choice is ultimately your decision to define your next move.
Yeah.
And either you're going to lay down and take it or you're going to come up swinging.
That's right. Rise of the Phoenix, baby. I love that. I have so many tattoos that I want to get, but that's one of them. I love that whole like the rising from the ashes, like everything could be torched down around me, but believe you me, I'm gonna keep on standing. So I want to move on a little bit too, because you talked about going through early menopause as well, which is the bane of most women's existence. And you talked about having to have surgery and that put you into early menopause. And so I want to kind of lead up to the physical state and mental, emotional you were in before you came to Frequency.
Um, Struggling. One word, struggling. Um, I had metaresia so bad that I begged for a hysterectomy. So I went from reproductive years to menopause.
Oh, like screeching, halting brakes, switching
Boom.
gears, complete U-turn.
And I hear people talk about postmenopause, and I'm like, what the heck is this? So I had to Google it, right? And I'm like, there's perimenopause, there's menopause, and there's postmenopause. Why do we get three levels of this shit?
Right.
So
I know,
I
right?
looked and I'm in postmenopause. I am 48 years old. I am in postmenopause, probably because I have no uterus. And my
Mhm.
blood work says my estrogen has hit the floor.
Right.
So I was struggling when I came to Frequence with my previous company. They had um, a capsule that they developed. And the first 7 or 8 months, wow, being able to sleep through the night without night sweats. Hello.
Yeah.
But that was it, 8 months. And then it slowly, I guess my body leveled out,
Yeah.
plateaued, accepted it was for what it was, integrated it into my life, and things
Yeah.
started to come back.
And there were other things without naming the company, for cost reasons, a lot of ingredients changed as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
that happens.
there was a
That's
change
fairly
in
common.
formula, there was a change in stuff, and I needed something different, but I am not willing to take a prescription.
Same.
Not until I have no choice.
Yeah.
And even then, there is other things. I know there are. I grew up in a predominantly Native American community, and I
Right.
know there's other stuff.
So you were always very open to this type of the whole natural healing and yeah, I
Oh
could see
yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, it's just there's so much. And when it comes to the wonderful thing about this is it's mycelium. It's an
Yeah.
adaptation naturally
Yeah.
occurring. And it does stuff for you. You don't need to tell it what to do because you don't know where it's supposed to go. It finds
That's
its own
right.
path and builds its connections.
Yeah, it's crazy. So being
It's
in menopause, that was like night sweats, brain fog, the poor sleep.
um one of the worst ones was racing heart. Sitting there
Mm,
and for no apparent reason, you think you're having some sort of anxiety attack, I'm assuming it's supposed to be like, and your heart
right,
feels like it's going to rupture from your chest.
right,
And my blood pressure's going up, things I had no control over anymore because,
right.
oh, your hormones are out of control, therefore, so
Yeah,
are you.
right.
It was insane. Forgetfulness, like gaps in the memory. I am a truck driver, and the light would turn green, and it would take an extra second for me to go, oh, yeah, right, go.
Right.
I'm like, is this going to happen when it's red? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Stop. No, something had to change. Something really had
Yeah,
to change.
absolutely.
Another thing that I
And
had too was lots of body aches
oh, yeah.
and
Inflammation.
pains. And
Yeah,
that's under control as much as it can be. So I'm
that's
loving that.
awesome. So then in walked
Oh, yes.
let's talk about and then you sense a change. I don't know about you. What did you just start with this or did you start with these the duo?
um,
Or did you start
I
with a
got the
5-day
duo.
experience?
I got no, I didn't even get as far as an experience because we were
Me
still
neither.
waiting on shipping. I'm in Canada. Hi,
Yeah,
3
yeah.
weeks. So
I was all in.
I jumped in with this
Yep,
and with this.
yep.
And while I waited for it to come, I absorbed as much information as I could from my friends in the States and the friends closer to the border that already had their stuff.
Right, same. So
And
for
I
those
started,
of you who are watching and have no idea what we're talking about, this is 7 organic mushrooms, nootropics, amino acids, 10,000% of vitamin B. Don't worry, it's water soluble, so what your body doesn't need, it's gonna get rid of. This is your fulvic acid, your 77 trace minerals. This is like electrolytes. This is like a detox. It sucks all the heavy metals and toxins out of your body, gets rid of them. It helps to balance your gut health. So, I mean, there's just so many things. Whatever you're struggling with, I encourage you to Google your struggles and functional mushrooms and fulvic acid, and you will get a laundry list of all of the things that it can help with because every single story is different. So now have you tried any of the other stuff?
I
I know
have.
we're in Canada, so it's a little bit harder to get.
It is a little bit difficult. Um, I have synced and I'm waiting on balance. Yes.
Listen, when you get these, I tell everyone this. Donna Valdez was the first one who told it to me. Well, actually, she told it to somebody else who told it to me, but oh my gosh, I have to tell everyone. If you put this in this, I'm telling you, this was a really good sleep. I thought I found the mecca of sleep, like the fountain of youth sleep. You guys, this has GABA, magnesium, collagen peptides. Hello, beauty sleep, CBD, and CBN. This one has the CBD and the CBG. When you combine CBN, CBD, and CBG together, they exponentially, the benefits like just exponentially like off the charts. It's crazy. But yeah, 1 squirt of this in this. I just mix it up like this, and then you have to try it. And do you take this? Have you had this before?
I have not. I was just going to ask you, is there a flavor?
No, there is no flavor to it. And you guys, everything we have, you can see all these little silver discs. I have one on the back of my necklace. We haven't discussed that part yet. Frequency charge nutrition, the one, the only. You'll never find it anywhere else. 11 harmonic frequencies. I believe I've been taking supplements since I was 12 years old, and nothing has been as quickly as effective as this. Most people will tell you, and Coral, you probably agree, like even after your first drink,
Oh
you
my
notice
God.
benefits. Like, tell me about that.
Wow. Like that was crazy. I was like, okay, mushrooms. I remember my mom making mushroom juice with like button mushrooms in a pitcher and water, and she soaked them, and it smelled like crap. And it was this weird pink brown color. And I'm thinking, what the hell did my girl Tara get me into? And but I was like, okay, mango lemonade, right? Mango lemonade. So I made it up
I
full of
knew as soon as I opened it, I was like, oh yeah, I can, you could just smell it as soon as you open it. It's like, it's mind blowing.
it is, it is. And I was like looking at it going, 8 ounces of water. Are you sure? Only eight? Maybe I should use more. Maybe if it tastes bad and I use more water, it, it'll thin that taste out. So my first cup, I did 16 ounces of water, full flavor,
Yeah. So
and
good.
it tastes amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
For me, I liken it to Snapple peach iced tea. That's literally
Yeah,
what it reminds me of.
absolutely. They say lemonade. My brain says iced tea. It looks like iced tea. It's iced tea
It
for
does.
life.
I know that's what it's like for me too. Yep, I agree. So, and then the other thing you guys we haven't talked about, because if you're in Canada, especially, this is one thing that is available to us, and that is our face cream. This is got so many crazy. I'm not an expert, but what I know is I went from using 5 or 6 different products. Coral, I think we were in the same company before this one, and probably you had the same skincare regime as
Yeah.
I did. I have saved myself easily $200 or $300 a month just by switching to this product. It's a moisturizer to a serum. It actually has an ingredient in it. It gives you Botox-like effects without the needles, and it doesn't freeze your face. But what it does is it absorbs into your skin and prevents the muscle movements in your face from creating fine lines in your skin. So, I mean, that happens naturally, right? We smile, we say, what the heck? Like, I have these craters up
Yeah.
here. So it doesn't stop those movements, but it stops those movements from causing fine lines in your face. So you will literally put this on and in half an hour, your skin, you'll be like, my skin is so different. So there's that one as well. Yeah. So, and what are you noticing now? Because it's probably been a few months, right? 5, 6,
I think I'm into 8 months. I
amazing.
started yeah, March.
Yeah.
March.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 8 months, and I don't have that afternoon slump. Like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, man, I don't care where I am. I curl up and go to sleep and involuntarily fall asleep. Like I'm sitting in my truck and it's load me or send me home, man, because I'm dying over here.
Right.
And it was a struggle to drive home at the end of the day. I am passing out. Like if I stop moving, I fall asleep.
Mhm. Yeah. So
And
you've got the window down, the music on, you're like trying to, get your other
oh
foot
yeah,
going or something just to keep the blood flowing and the energy moving. Yeah, I get it.
yeah. And now I don't have that. I
Yeah.
really don't. I do know and I do find, and I'm going to shout it out there. If you take this after, I'm going to say noon, may the gods be with you. May the sleep gods find you because they didn't find me at 11:30 at night.
See, I don't have that trouble at all. My boyfriend drives a truck as well. He drives a transport truck as well, and he always said the same as you, like that 2, 3 o'clock, like that driving down the road, and you're like, I got to get to my stop, get something to eat, get some sugar in me. So he loves this too. Like, he drinks it before he goes to work, and then he's like, he's good because he drives afternoons. But so and same thing, like that alertness, that focus, the stopping of the racing brain, but yet also keeping your brain like it doesn't dull you down and like it's crazy how it can calm your brain but also make you focused at this. I felt like it was like a light switch went on in my brain. Like everything got brighter and more focused and I kind of had that quiet. Now you've been through trauma, so you probably had, and we talked about those intrusive thoughts and the overthinking and stuff, that chronic overthinking because you're constantly trying to judge the environment and who's that doesn't go away just because you leave that type of relationship, you guys. That goes on and on and on. It's a new pathway that's been created in your brain. And so what I love about lion's mane is lion's mane can actually regenerate nerves. And it's a completely separate study proven by medical communities that have nothing to do with us. You can Google it on the internet. Lion's mane has regenerative properties. They're using it for patients. They're testing it on patients with dementia and Alzheimer's and all those kinds of things. So I love for me that all of that is stopping. I've had years and years and years and years of it. And now it's like, okay, like something stressful can happen, and I'm not immediately racing to the 10,000 bad things that could possibly happen as a result of this situation, which I feel like you probably understand.
I do. I really do. And one of the first things I noticed with this was a complete brain zen.
Mhm.
It was all of those thoughts are there, but they're back here. And for the first time in I don't know how long, the front of my brain was calm. It was like a still water. And it's a revelation. Like you just sit there and you're afraid to blink. You don't want to ripple that pond.
Yeah, you don't want it to
And
go away.
it was amazing. And the other thing I'm going to say for me, I don't know if you've experienced this. I don't know if you're in that menopause journey yet, but that hormonal light switch rage,
Mm.
I'm happy like a teenager.
I love that. I love that. I know because people, those raging hormones, and women in menopause, you got the sweats, you've got the restless leg syndrome, you've got the flip of the switch where the emotions can be all over the place. And so I love the stories that are all coming out of all of this and people sharing the stories. Um, and I just love hearing it. The amazing thing, you said it already, it's an adaptogen. So if you guys don't know what an adaptogen is, it literally, and Coral said it, it literally will get in your body, figure out what your body needs most, and go to work doing that. And then 3, 4, 5 months in, or maybe a month in, all of a sudden that is balanced. And so then it'll go over here and be like, oh, okay, now we need to bring, like, I feel like my journey just keeps kind of like morphing into, oh, okay, I don't struggle with that anymore. And like, so it's kind of cool to see as time goes on that it's not just for one thing. And I think that's what I love most about this for my, I've been in the fitness world for quite a while and coaching and stuff. And what I love for my people is that it literally will do so many things for so many different people. Like there's not just this is only for brain fog or this is only for sleep or this is only, it will do. I'm telling you, Google functional mushrooms. We have 7. We have reishi, king's tail, turkey tail, king's trumpet, chaga, cordyceps. We have what's the other one? Shiitake, and then I think I'm missing one in there. The lion's mane. You guys just Google them. I'm telling you, just Google and you'll find some incredible things. And I want to say you can reach out to Coral, you can reach out to myself. If somebody else shared this video with you or tagged you on it, we will make sure you get to that person. We promise, because that's how we roll. We are a family and a community. But you can grab a 5-day experience, okay? You can get these 5 single little packets. It's got the ingredients. It's got everything you need on it. A little bit of explanation about the products, and you can try for 5 days. I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to go all in on yourself, and you're going to want to get the 30 days, because you're going to hit day 2 and day 3 and realize I didn't know how bad I felt until I didn't feel that bad anymore. So you're going to want to get, and the 30 days has a money back, empty bottle money back guarantee on 30 days. So you've got nothing to lose. I promise you, you've never had anything like this before in your life, because guess what? It never existed until now. So frequencies that there's what, 11 different frequencies, and they balance all 8 systems of your body. There's also grounding and immune system support. We work with a frequency doctor. And Coral, I'm in love with him. He's just the sweetest. He's just the best. And he explained your immune system is not like a bunch of little fighters inside your body getting rid of disease. Your immune system is literally like a force field outside of your body that keeps the negative toxins, the hormones, the pathogens, all those different things. It literally is like a force field. So I don't know. I kind of love that picture. So you're going to want to grab this. You're going to want to get it. Coral, I want to say thank you. You're amazing. I know you were nervous, but you rocked it. You crushed it. I can't wait for everyone to hear your story. And you guys, if you have questions or comments, give Coral a shout out, because she's pretty badass. She's pretty amazing. And if you have any questions for any of us, we can connect you to our VIP community, over 10,000 strong. We're always doing challenges and fun things. Next week, we're going to teach you a minute to win it, how to feel better and raise your vibration in under a minute, because we know how busy you are. So make sure you connect with one of us to get involved in that. It's going to be pretty incredible. And I thank you for joining us. Have a great night, you guys.